Your story does not need special effects. Somewhere along the way, many of us began to believe the truth was not enough. Not enough attention, not enough admiration, not enough sympathy, not enough significance. So we started adding special effects to our stories. Sometimes it is a small exaggeration. Sometimes it is a carefully edited version of events. Sometimes it is a detail that gets stretched a little further each time it is told. And sometimes it becomes something much bigger, a false achievement, an embellished hardship, a narrative supported by evidence that is not entirely honest. The strange thing is that most people do not do this to fool others. They do it because somewhere deep down, they have started to believe that who they really are is not enough, that their actual story needs help, that the truth needs embellishment. But the truth has a power that performance will never have. And the moment you stop trusting your own story is the moment you begin losing touch with yourself. The truth does not need decoration. Authenticity has become a buzzword. Everyone talks about it. Everyone claims to value it. But authenticity is often tested the moment the truth feels ordinary, the moment the real story is less dramatic, less impressive, less likely to attract attention. That is when integrity matters. Because integrity is not about telling the truth when it benefits you. It is about telling the truth when embellishment would make you look better. We live in a world that rewards performance. Social media did not create this problem, but it certainly amplified it. Every day we see curated versions of people's lives, achievements, milestones, victories, moments designed to capture attention. Over time, it becomes easy to believe that significance comes from standing out, from having the most extraordinary story, the most dramatic experience, the most impressive accomplishment. But significance and spectacle are not the same thing, and one should never be confused with the other. The need to embellish often comes from insecurity. This is the part people rarely talk about. Most exaggeration is not rooted in confidence. It is rooted in doubt. Doubt that the truth is enough. Doubt that people will care. Doubt that ordinary experiences have value. So people begin adding layers, making things bigger, more mysterious, more impressive, more tragic, more remarkable. Not because the truth lacks value, because they have forgotten its value. The cost of a false narrative. At first, embellishment may seem harmless. A detail here, an exaggeration there, a slightly improved version of events. But over time, something begins to happen. The story becomes harder to maintain. The gap between reality and presentation grows wider. And eventually, the person telling the story has to keep serving the narrative instead of living the truth. That is an exhausting way to live because every false layer creates distance, distance from others, distance from reality, and most importantly, distance from yourself. The most interesting people are often the most honest. Think about the people you genuinely admire, not the ones who impress you, the ones you trust, the ones whose words carry weight, the ones who feel real. Chances are what makes them compelling is not perfection. It is honesty, their willingness to tell the truth, even when it makes them look vulnerable, even when it makes them look human, especially then. Your story has value without embellishment. One of the greatest lies many people carry is the belief that their life is too ordinary, too simple, too unremarkable. But every person carries experiences that shaped them, lessons that changed them, moments that challenged them, stories that matter. You do not need extraordinary circumstances to have a meaningful life. You only need the courage to own the life you have actually lived. Integrity is an inside job. Integrity is not about public image. It is not about reputation. It is not about convincing other people that you are honest. It is about knowing that the person you present to the world matches the person you are when no one is watching. That alignment creates peace because there is nothing to defend, nothing to maintain, nothing to remember, just the truth. The real story is enough. The older I get, the more I appreciate honesty, not perfection, not performance, not spectacle, honesty. The person who admits they do not know, the person who shares what really happened, the person who resists the temptation to make the story bigger than it was. There is something deeply powerful about that because the truth does not need special effects. It does not need dramatic lighting. It does not need a better ending. It does not need embellishment. It simply needs the courage to be told. Trust the story that is real. If you find yourself tempted to exaggerate, impress, or enhance the narrative, pause for a moment. Ask yourself why, not with judgment, with curiosity. Because underneath that impulse may be a belief that deserves examination. A belief that says your real story is not enough. But it is. Your life does not need embellishment to have meaning. Your experiences do not need exaggeration to matter. Your truth does not need special effects to be powerful. The real story is enough, and so are you. Slay reflection. S. See the story. Have you ever felt pressure to make yourself seem more impressive, successful, or interesting than you really felt? L. Look beneath the need. What belief might be driving that desire? A. Acknowledge the truth. What part of your real story have you overlooked or undervalued? Why? Your next step. How can you practice greater authenticity